Welcome back. In this clip we're going to show you what's going on with these next two tabs back. The first one will be the tone curve, and then we'll show you what's going on here in the detail curve, or pardon me, the detail tab. Let's start with the tone curve. Here is where I like to apply my contrast. There is this contrast slider here and under the basic tab. You can increase contrast. It's really simple and easy, but it doesn't necessarily give you the control you might be looking for to really affect the contrast how you would like it to be affected. So instead we're going to use this tone curve. And first let's describe what's going on. I'm going to make an adjustment here. I'm going to take the highlight slider and run it to the right, and we'll notice that right up here this pulls off the diagonal line and goes to the high side. Alright, and if you watch the histogram right here, we notice that it moves to the right, it lightens. If we go to the left, the histogram shows that it's darkening. Again, the image is darkening, and what we're seeing is the set of pixels, okay, from this point over, this set of pixels all through here is now darkening because our line is going down below the diagonal. When it goes above the diagonal, the pixels lighten, and again, the pixels that are being affected are the pixels that lie underneath this curve. So it's going to be these through here. The pixels back over here are not being affected at all because they have this straight line running through them. If we go back to 0, we'll notice now, again, no effect. These are called parametric curves. These are new in CS4. I think they're CS4. Anyway, they're new, CS3 or CS4. What we used to have to work with were these point curves, and if you want to play with these, you may. To do so, you simply click on an area of the curve and you drag it around. But because you drag on one side of a point, there's an opposite reaction going the other direction on the other side of the point. Really hard to have a lot of finesse in doing it. Made curves very difficult to work with. So we'll just go ahead and leave the medium contrast on the point. And you really want to do most of your adjustments here on these parametric curves because you don't have that kind of a balancing effect around a point. Very handy. So we're seeing that we can move the curve up, but we can control where it drops back in by moving these sliders here around. So we do have some level of control where we actually place the effect, what tonalities pick up this brightening or darkening. Okay, so how might we actually use this in real life? Let's just reset this back to 0, click on it, and bring these back more or less their default positions. The way we might use this in real life is this particular image is very soft, not a lot of contrast. Let's get some contrast by creating a little bit brighter highlights. We'll just run these off to the right a little bit. And then let's darken our 3/4 tones and our dark areas. We can toggle on and off here to see our improvement. We can really fine-tune this curve here with these sliders, allowing us to really pick the way we want contrast to show. And we could even further fine-tune it by adjusting these little points here. That's the usefulness of this tone curve tab. The next tab back, the detail tab, really works with sharpening. We're going to be removing a small amount of blur that occurs, or fuzziness that occurs because of the digital capture. We're going to take that out now. This is not sharpening that we might do in advance of printing or final output. This is simply sharpening we're going to do to remove some digital capture blur. So to do this, we need to take our image. The first step we want to do to see what's going on is take our image and look at it at 100%. So I'm going to right click and go to 100%. It's real important that you are at 100% because without being at 100%, the effects we're going to show you are not visible. If you hold the Alt key down and grab a slider, it now changes the view where you can see more easily the effect of the slider. So here's the amount of sharpening. All right, and we can let go of that, then grab the radius, slide the radius way over, see the effect, take it way back, grab the detail, run it way over and back. This allows you to apply sharpening in the way you want to apply it. You can see what's going on. Let's go with the masking, run it way over and back. We'll talk a lot more about masking when we get into Photoshop, but for here, just we'll try real quickly here. The areas in black, this sharpening effect is not actually happening at all. They're being masked off. The areas in white, the sharpening effect is happening at 100%, and then the gray areas somewhere in between. Okay, let's just run down my usual settings that I like. My amount would be 35. My radius, I like at 1. My detail, I like at 50. My masking, I like at 35. The next part of this tab is this noise reduction. Unless we're shooting with a really high ISO, or we've introduced noise to our image by shooting with a very long shutter speed, I take the noise reduction off. It again helps create a sharper image. When we do run up with a high ISO, maybe we're shooting the Milky Way at night, we may bring these sliders up a little bit to help reduce noise. Okay, we'll take those back off for most of our landscapes. Okay, there's the look at your Tone and Curve tab and the Detail tab. We'll see you next time.